just turned it on. What is this?
Sometimes I have to just ignore it. I just pretend he's not there. Or I'll say something. I know the things that make him mad, so I just get him mad so he just walks away. And then he gets into his office, and then until you say, "Are you mad?" Then he comes in. So I can't tell you how many emails I start at 8 o'clock and don't send them till 3.
Good evening and welcome to the Budget and Finance Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 11th. It is now 6:32 p.m. Voting members present, we have to my right the Vice Chair, Councilor Vivian Marmol, Council President Giovanni Rodriguez, and myself, the Chair, Councilor Stephanie Infante. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person here at the City Council chamber or use any of our social media channels. At this moment, can you please join me in the flag, in the pledge? Councilors, can I have a motion to approve minutes from the May 13th meeting? So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by the Vice Chair, seconded by the Council President. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. All right, I think the chief needs to go somewhere. Where is the chief's? Councilors, I'm gonna take item 234-25 first. Is the second one under new business is the transfer in the amount of $492,000, 770 with 34 cents from the free cash account to the new account designated for Police Department capital improvements, and we have that brought to us by Chief Aguilar. Chief, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. So our proposal, if you're ready, Madam Chair, I'll begin. Can you hear me? Barely? I'll speak louder. Better? Okay. Better? Okay. So I can begin when you're ready. Okay. So we've conducted an inventory of, basically our personnel and materials and the like, and we've identified a series of essential equipment that we require to improve overall operations and, and provide a safer, quality of life and better response and service to the community. We understand that the $492,770 is substantial, but we're confident that the investment is going to yield long-term benefits in for public safety and operational efficiency. The money is going to be utilized, that we're proposing the transfer to be utilized for 26 medical kits at $9,750, 26 automated external defibrillators, and that constitutes kind of one of the bigger portions of it. But we understand the need for defibrillators. Ours are pretty much aged out, if not altogether inoperable at times. So, that would be something that's required most cruisers and for when we respond to medical emergencies. Included in the package is also 3 Ford Explorer cruisers at $201,641. Again, that's to substitute our aging fleet. And then the biggest chunk of change here is the 60 tasers with the kits. It's unfortunate, but it is required. The tasers are becoming increasingly more expensive. I do want to explore options, maybe for next year, to see how we reduce it, or what exactly are the minimum qualifications under the MPTC that we should carry, because, again, it's a substantial amount of money, and if there's any way around it, I want to find it. I don't want to be beholden to ever-increasing taser kits. And then ultimately one unmarked Ford Explorer to $46,000. And again, that would go to, our detectives division and/or our administrative division as needed.
Council Marma.
So the 60 tasers with kits, is it because of officers that are not equipped with it, or is it they expire after a certain time period and you have to replace old ones? And the same question would go for like the 26 automatic external defibrillators.
So what happens with the taser kits and the companies, deliberately did it. It's almost like the phones. There's always the upgrades on the phones and what have you. Eventually, your older phone will stop working on you, programs, or it's incompatible with what's required. The taser kits now, they keep evolving. And so there are different programs are involved, different effective ranges or what have you. And so they keep making different ones. So the older ones that we have now are incompatible with, let's say, chargers, the charging tips that come with it. They don't make it anymore. So if you want it, you have to buy the new one. And so that's basically where we're at. That's why I'm saying we really do have to evaluate whether that's like, one of those deals where we're forever going to be enslaved to that, and if there are any other options to that. I personally look at the tasers, and I really wonder, I haven't done the statistical research on that, but I really wonder, if not for the fact that we're mandated to have it, whether it would even be useful to us based on how many times it's deployed and its proven track record of effectiveness.
Personally, for me, I don't need that information right now, but at a later point in time, if you're able to provide me with info on how often our officers use the taser.
Any other questions? Council President.
Chief?
Yes, sir.
I think that I have spoke with you not that long ago, like probably an hour and a half. Well, I just wondering, what are you guys pretending on doing with the old cruisers that you're gonna replace? There's 4 here. What's the plan for that?
So right now, we have 4 cruisers that whose use and life basically has ended, simply because it's more expensive to try to maintain them than it is to, quite frankly, scrap it and use other cruisers. We can get a longer shelf life out of it. And so with those, what I'd like to do is, with regards to the light packages, the light bars and stuff, I'm Frankensteining that. If I can take a light bar out of one cruiser, I'm using it. In fact, I have one cruiser in particular that I'm taking all of the equipment, all the communications equipment, everything out, and placing it into another plain vehicle to make that into an operable cruiser. So we'll get everything we can out of it. Once that's removed from that, then we're going through the process of trying to auction the used cruisers. There are people who buy these things at auction, whether it's for specific parts or whatever the case may be. So whatever money we can get back from that, we will get back from that, even if they buy it only for the tires. With that said, Council President, if I may, I just started researching a program, and the the cruisers constitute one of the biggest expenditures for capital, capital improvement that we have. And I started researching a program that is basically a lease program. And so I want to see, and I know it's going to take some work, but I mean, I want to see over the long term if this particular program is more cost effective for us. Because every couple of years, like any other lease, they're giving us they're giving us new cruisers. Do you understand? So all we have to do is spend for light package transfers and give them back the old cruisers. And we don't have to worry about all of those, maintenance expenditures that start to increase as the cruisers get older. So I just want to float that out there because if that's feasible, it will come before you and we'll run the numbers, we'll run the stats, and we'll see if that's something that's beneficial to the city in the long term. But I don't have any raw numbers on that or any data on that. It's just something that I want to look at, moving forward.
Another thing that I want to ask you, Chief, is on the medical kit, the external, I can't say that word, the 26 out of my, yeah. And if, yeah, and the tasers, those are things that are very common when it comes to public safety. And also, I hear a lot of those in the past that they come to the city of Lawrence in the mode of a grant. So there is an intent to keep on looking for those grants that we might be able to finance those.
Absolutely. I have, for many years now, been a huge proponent of grants, whether they're federal grants, state grants, donations for certain groups and the like. We're always looking for money. And, we only come before the council when it's something absolutely necessary. So the grants are something that's huge. For various reasons now, several of the grants are right now in question as to what we will not get. But we're always looking for grants. In fact, Director Shepherd and I are consistently, just today, we were discussing another grant which she's going to be applying for. So grants in any respect, whether it's for staffing, whether it's for materials, whether it's for training, services to our community, like the behavioral health units and like, always looking for grants. We never stop. That's a perpetual thing, happens all the time.
The reason why I'm saying this is not because I don't want the police department to tag into the free cash account. No, not at all. The money is there. It's to provide quality of life in any way that we can. But sometimes I hear on a lot of the grants that are for a specific thing and then the overtime related to that program that we're going to provide. I'd rather see doing more with the grant and tag into the free cash for personal matters, personal salaries and stuff like that, perhaps overtime to run that specific grant and have more the city committed in some aspects and not necessarily the grant, because the grant is sometimes it doesn't even look good. I mean, sometimes we approve a lot of grants, that's for specific something, and then also overtime that is going to be related to that. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to see that happen. I'm not against that from happening, but I mean I would like to kind of like maybe reduce that and maybe tag into the other accounts to be able to provide those services, and then have the commitment both ways. The city commitment because the investment that we're doing of a specific amount for the overtime of that grant being the grant that we're participating, and also the use of the grant to the full capacity of the intents of the grant. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like a situation that some decisions need to be made, but I mean it's kind of like that's what I'm seeing it like it's a little challenging, but I mean we're fully committed to the grant, and we're going to be investing in that grant all the way for what it's for, and then anything else that is related to payments for the police and stuff like that, we're going to get that. You know what I mean?
I do, Council President, and I can tell you that you're absolutely right. Some grants are like taking candy from the devil. The strings attached to it are not worth our time. And some of the reporting requirements are so intensive that it's not worth either the director's time or any of our time. We could be doing something more productive with that. So the type of grants that we pursue, we certainly scrutinize for that. What are we getting, and what do they want? What are the strings attached to that? Not all grants are worth it, you know what I mean? And so we will not be pursuing those that we don't believe are more beneficial to us than they are to the communities and/or vendors attached to those grants.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to send to full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly seconded, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, back to the top of the agenda, we have item 233-25. Review and approval of annual application to the HUD for a community development block grant, which is the CDBG, in the amount of $1,638,713, and for the home grant in the amount of $835,894.17. And we have our Manager of Finance and Admin Services, Sue Frank.
Good evening,
Speak.
councilors. First of all, I want to apologize for bringing those handouts at the very last minute. We were finalizing the budget literally until the end of the workday today. So our FY26, which starts on July 1st, is funded with federal 2025 CDBG and home grants. HUD announced the allocation amounts on May 14th, and as you said, we are receiving $1,638,713 for CDBG. This is an increase of $17,919 over the FY25 allocation. And we're receiving $835,894.17 for home, and we're estimating to have $75,082 in program income this year. This is a decrease, unfortunately, of $8,680.43 over FY25. So our action plan process began in November when outreach was done via newspaper ads, flyers, radio announcements, social media posts, emails to nonprofits, and personal contact with the nonprofits. So the CDBG budget you have before you has $506,470 for park improvements, $400,000 for infrastructure improvements, $225,000 for a match to our newly awarded lead grant, $10,000 as a match to Emmaus to house formerly homeless individuals from Lawrence, and $327,743 for administrative costs. And there is a statutory cap of 20% of the CDBG grant for administrative costs. An RFP process was conducted for the public service funding. Applications were made available on December 4th and were due on January 24th. Applicants were required to attend a mandatory application workshop on December 11th. If an organization did not attend the workshop, they would not be eligible to apply. There were 51 people who attended the workshop. And when the applications were received, they were checked against the attendance sheet to make sure that they were at the workshop. We ended up receiving 21 applications requesting a total of $724,650. And at that point, we had estimated we would have $220,000 available for funding those applications after funding the $10,000 to Emmaus. And there is a statutory cap of 15% for public service activities under CDBG. The Community Development Advisory Board, the CDAB, is made up of residents that review the application and make funding recommendations to the mayor. The members of the CDAB for this year were Nilsa Caraballo, Filbert Ferreira, and Francesca Lisbeth Naval, and I want to publicly thank them for the time and effort they put into this process. The applicants did a 3-minute presentation to the CDAB on February 13th, and the CDAB met on February 19th to decide on their recommendations. And again, they had to base their allocation recommendations on the estimate because we had not known the exact amount of funding at that point. On March 6th, Director Pimentel, Kate King, Marisol Colon, and I met with Mayor DePena and Claudia Hoyos and presented the CDAB recommendations, which are on this larger sheet that you have. The mayor made his final funding decisions, which is what you have before you this evening. You'll see that 7 applications did not receive funding. 1 organization applied for an ineligible project. 3 organizations did not provide the required paperwork, even though they were given extensions to get the paperwork in to us. And 3 organizations did not do their presentations. In the home budget, which you have before you, has $100,000 for first-time homebuyer down payment assistance, $125,384 for certified community housing development organizations, or CHODOs. And this is a statutory requirement to set 15% of the home fund aside for those CHODOs. There's $602,003 for housing development projects, and $85,589 for administrative costs, with a cap of 10% on the home grant for administrative costs. So this evening, I'm requesting that you approve the annual action plan budget, authorize expenditure of these grant funds, and send this to the full council to order a public hearing at the July 1st meeting, I believe it would be. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Councilors, any questions? Council President.
Well, thank you, Susan, for actually putting this together. Can I get this on through email? I don't know if you have sent it. I haven't checked my email in the last few
I can
hours.
send it by email, that's no problem.
Thank you.
I'll take care of that tomorrow.
Also, I have a few questions, Susan. 7 applications didn't receive funds, as you mentioned, and I'm seeing that they were recommended as 0. That's up to the committee and the mayor. That's fine. I also want to know more about. Well, happy first. I'm happy that you guys are coming back to providing the 10% or 15% amount.
Up to 15% we can.
15% that is required for the community users. I mean, last year we were not, you guys didn't go through that.
Correct.
Or didn't do it. I'm happy that we're using the community to provide those type of services. Susan, when it comes to these project names, there is 3 of them that caught my attention a little bit, and I would like to know more about it, which is the community wellness, the pediatric empowerment, and behavioral health program. So essentially when I was reading through, is like, essentially they're gonna provide services to, I'm just gonna allow you to add more on that, and then I'll ask a little
Sure.
more questions, those 3.
So
for the
all
same
all 3
organization.
of these projects are funded to the Integrated Center for Group Medical Visits, which is located over in the Riverwalk Complex. So the community wellness is I'll just read this if you don't mind. They will maintain the capacity, increase the efficiency of the existing 30-plus integrated health service, including exercise, nutrition, counseling, yoga, and acupuncture. And they are currently serving more than 50 low and moderate income residents from Lawrence who could otherwise not afford these programs. The pediatric empowerment is group medical visits for low-income children in Lawrence with Medicare and Medicaid insurance who do not have access to integrative healthcare services, and to employ Lawrence Youth to assist with these groups. And the behavioral health program will provide mental health counseling for low and moderate income people in Lawrence with Medicare and Medicaid insurance who otherwise would not have access to behavioral health services. So all of these groups do have to have their participants fill out a self-declaration form, which they would then say, this is their income limit, this is the size of their household, this is their income limit, and then they have to fill out race and ethnicity, and that's documentation that we check when we go do our monitoring visits to make sure they're serving the correct clientele.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, you guys are exploding a little more when it comes to different organizations that are tagging into response. But I was like, I want to get more information. I mean, it sounds good, but, I want to know more, like, the capacity to increase the efficiency of our existing 30-plus integrated health services, including exercise, nutrition, counseling, and yoga. It's like, I wanna know more.
Okay, I can provide you more information from their applications. And this is not their first time applying, they have been funded in the past.
They haven't come in the past?
Yes,
Okay. I mean, it never come my attention. And also, like, I wanna know, like, you know, who they're serving, that we might need a little bit of assistance, whether we can use CDBGs and stuff like that. Also, on the third project, which is the behavioral health program,
mm-hmm.
on that one, I wanna know, like, you know, is that money gonna be used for, perhaps, anything related to extra funds that people need, like, to be able to get the services? How that work? I mean, I don't know, like, is that to pay the co-payments, or how that gonna, you know, provide the services? I don't know, because I'm assuming that people that use the services that are low income, they might have money. So, how that work? I mean, I just wondering, like, where are we gonna, what is the process? Where is it that we're gonna be using this fund for?
Okay, I'll make sure I get
Quickly.
that information to you tomorrow.
They're very, like, unique. I wanna get more information.
You're not pushing the button. It was,
There's
Time?
no time?
yeah, it was like on and off. It was flickering.
No, but I mean, I wanna get these, at least those three in the meantime. And also there is one more. I wanna get to know more, like, you know, what is the location of the New England Hope and Academy, so we can promote the youth and recreational development program, and how many kids they potentially gonna be helping. So if it is a significant amount of kids, so we can promote the program. That's for the New England Hope Academy.
So we have an internal policy that for every $1,000 of CDBG funds an organization is awarded, they are required to serve one person. So if they get $10,000, they have to serve at least 10 low-mod income Lawrence residents. They can't serve 8, then we would only give them 8,000.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm assuming that
But he obviously
for
serves more than-
basketball, I mean,
Right.
$1,000 per kid
Right.
for basketball for a program is kind of like a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, you know, the real number, if it is any,
Sure.
you know, because I mean, I understand for all the services.
Yep.
And as a general thought, it's fine, because I mean, it's a good number.
Right.
But I mean, for basketball and stuff like that, potentially,
I'm
if
sure
they
he
pay
serves
$100 a
hundreds.
month, it's a lot more kids, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know, just wondering.
Sure. I will
And
get
my
that.
intent is to, if they gonna serve a lot of kids, so we can promote and probably, provide that information to kids that are looking for basketball within our neighborhoods.
Sure.
I know a couple of kids that they told me that they play, but I don't see it, and they losing up opportunities, and potentially they're gonna end up on the street,
We
so.
don't want that.
Yeah, and that's gonna be a lot worse for the city eventually. I mean, you know what I mean? So essentially, that's what I kinda like identify those.
Sure. I'll get all that information to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question.
Council Marmal?
I'm not sure if you touched on it, but the ones that are grayed out in the third page.
Yes.
I'm just curious, what's the reasoning behind it, if it has any purpose or meaning to it? And considering that the mayor's recommendation is 0, and 2 out of the 3 are youth services, I'm just intrigued in terms of, you know, how do you guys go about in making or having this decision made?
So
If
those
that
were
makes
the,
any
those were
sense.
the 3 organizations that did not do their presentation to the CDEP.
Okay. Then my second question is on this other document. I'm seeing on the first line item, park and infrastructure improvements.
Yes.
If you could go just slightly into detail in terms of what parks and what are the infrastructure improvements? Because then on the second line item, I'm seeing infrastructure improvements once again. So just trying to differentiate one line item from the other.
Sure. So we actually just did a bid opening yesterday for the Bay State Road park improvements. So some of these funds will go to fund that contract. We're also looking into doing some renovations at Costello Park, which is in dire need of some TLC, and we may be doing some additional work at Mulaney Park. Infrastructure improvements, Director Velez is here, and we have committed $120,000 to help do some bathroom renovation improvements at the center to make, we're hoping at least one of them ADA compliant, if not more. So those are the types of projects we could do under the infrastructure.
But why two separate line items with the same title in terms of infrastructure? Is it because of two different facilities?
I think if you use, if we put it in the park and infrastructure, I think people are more inclined to think it's only for parks and we can't use it for anything else. That's why we tried to break it out into two separate pots of money, so we do have some flexibility to do those types of projects, those infrastructure projects. Although the infrastructure money could be technically used for a park if we needed to fund something out of that line item.
What's up? Council President.
Susan, just in general, I mean, it's not, I don't have any question on any particular project and stuff like that or anything related to the program, but I just want to know, like, you know, we keep on approving these funds, CDBG's funds, and the home program, and sometimes kind of like, you know, we're missing the main point, at least mentioning it, what it's for, and what the federal government is expecting from us to get that money spent too. So next week when you come over, I know we're just gonna order the public hearing if this goes through. But when the time comes for the approval, can you just give us a definition as of why is this money for, what the federal government is expecting from it, and how we should be responsibly spending those funds to get a specific result. I know that the mayor and the administration, they defined specific priorities, and then they fund those. But I want to know, like, what's the expectations, and sometimes we miss it because we keep on mentioning, and kind of forgot about the main goal.
Sure, I'd be happy to bring that to
Thank you.
not next meeting, but the meeting after.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion to send this up to the full council to request a public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Motion has been made by the council president, seconded by Council Marmal. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the
Aye.
ayes have it.
Thank you, councilors.
All right, next we have is, where did Dan go? Okay. Dan, are you here for the Mass DOT item?
Excuse me?
Are you here for the Mass DOT item?
I am here, yeah, the appropriations transfer, second, document 230.
Yes, so I'm gonna lose quorum for that, again.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't get voted on tonight, right?
We can, well, we're gonna take,
I got appropriations for cash transfer. If it doesn't get voted tonight, would it be possible still to get it voted on before the end of the fiscal year?
230 is under table items.
The president has to recuse himself.
Yeah.
Going into a DOT project.
So do we have another meeting before the end of the year?
Yeah, let's just do that, yeah.
Well, can it be sent up as a?
Yeah, no, because we have to vote on that too. We have to vote on that too, and he can't vote on any Mass DOT stuff. We'll take it out of committee. We'll take it out of committee and put it under old business. Yeah. Thank you. All right, next item is 235-25, end-of-year transfer between the departmental accounts. Then we have them all listed individually as
Yes.
items. All right, CAFO, you have
So-
the floor.
Good evening, councilors. Ramona Sabalos, acting CAFO. If okay with you, I'd like to give my place up for the review of the revolving funds, since the majority of the audience is here for that, so if that's okay. We can go to the year-end transfers after, if that's okay with you.
Thank you. So the first item is item 236-25, reauthorization of the Bellevue Cemetery revolving fund accounts with the expenditure limit of $95,000. And we have the director. Director, you have the floor.
Good evening. I'm advocating, as always, for your careful consideration to reauthorize the established Bellevue revolving funds with the annual expenditure limited to $95,000.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, have a good evening.
The next one, we have item 238-25, reauthorization of, 237-25, reauthorization of Council on Aging revolving fund account expenditure limits of $150,000. We have the director here with us. Director, you have the floor.
I believe, thank you. Good evening, councilors. I believe it's 150,000, right?
150, yeah.
150?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I come before you for your authorization to continue to have that availability and continue to serve our elders.
Councilors, any questions or
Yeah, sure.
comments? Council President.
Thank you. Martha, before yesterday, I think it was on Monday, we went to a neighborhood association meeting and one question come up and I wasn't able to answer. And then I would like you to answer for me. I'm gonna ask you the questions. What is it that the city is doing for the seniors? I just didn't wanna get into that because there is more qualified people to answer that. And I was looking forward to ask you that question. So if you can take a minute or two to explain what is it that the city is doing for the seniors, what the service that you guys provide, and how they can take advantage of those opportunities, please.
Sure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'll try to do it as an elevator conversation. So what does the city do for the seniors? A lot. We're blessed to have a Council on Aging, which is an oversight of the senior center, and the senior center is a place where seniors can come to actually do activities, mental health, wellness, lunches, transportation, any applications that people would need help with. If you're going to retire, we help you with Social Security, SNAP, medical appointments. We'll make medical appointments. We read letters for you. We have exercise programs, we have bingo, we have dominoes, we have pool tables, we have breast cancer, Somos Fuerte support groups, we have educational forums, we have citizenship citizenship English classes, in both in Spanish and English. We have, we've done computer classes. We are trying now to do more of like WhatsApp on phones and stuff like that. So there's a lot. Besides that, our organization, Council on Aging, is the primary point of contact for any elder that needs a referral. So if an elder, also if there's an elder that is homebound and needs us to refer them to HBAN, we refer them to HBAN and we work with HBAN. We also, from the center, we also deliver 600 homebound meals to elders that are homebound. If there's something that someone feels that we're not doing, my name is Martha Velez. My work number is 978-620-3542. Feel free to call me and I would be more than happy to give you any information and also work with you. And if there's something that, I love constructive criticism, if there's something that we're missing, I'll go after it and look for it if somebody needs it.
Through you, Madam Chair. No, it was not in a way of criticizing it, it was just asking.
Yeah.
In general. And you provide great example of what you guys do. I want you to also just take a few seconds to talk to the seniors up there as of how the tax incentive program works.
Senior Tax Work-Off Program. So the Senior Tax Work-Off Program, last year you raised the income level to $1,000 as a credit. So seniors would work for 67 hours for the city. And they can do that in a year span. They can start in January and finish in November. We need November to be the end date because Alex has to go through the process of closing the books. And then you come and you tell us what I try to do it so that seniors come into the office, we fill out applications with them, and what we try to do is, what is your passion? What do you like to do? What is your hobby? What would you like to help with? And then we kind of match them with other departments. The other thing is, this is for single-family homes, like it's not for income property. This is for people elders that are living alone or are living in a house and it's not producing income for them.
Single-family homes, and what are the age requirements for that?
You have to be 62
No.
and a homeowner. No income limitations. No. You're welcome. And you have to pass a query, I'm sorry. You do have to pass a query. And you do become an employee, a temporary employee of the city. So you're not volunteering, you are being paid to do 67 hours at the rate of $20 an hour, so it's $1,000.
Thank you, Council President. To add to that, the same individual at the neighborhood meeting, I went up to her afterwards, and the comment she made to me was, I never received a letter. I haven't received any letters from the center. I don't know if we do that. If we don't, maybe that's something to look into. I'm sure we have a database of lists of the seniors within the city, and just to at least once a year, a mass mailer to all the seniors in Lawrence, and just giving them, a reminder or an overview. This is what we have. At least they have that information. Now it would be, it would be up to them or their family members to help them reach out to you or the center, to make these appointments for these services.
That's a great idea. I will do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send this item to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made, probably seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. And the ayes have it. Thank you, Director. Item 238-25, the reauthorization of Recreation and Park Self-Supporting Service Revolving Fund. I don't have an amount here, but we have the Director Gonzalez here. Director, you have the floor.
Hi, how are you, councilors? Adelie Gonzalez, 6 Hillside Ave. So I'm here to ask, the authorization of Recreation and Park Supporting Service Revolving Account. So, what you guys don't know, for our department, so the self-supporting, we're only allowed to have 10,000 in our account before the new fiscal year starts. So we can have more than that. That's why there's not really right capital, it's not really.
Yeah, it's under a different national law section.
Yeah.
Okay, what was that? Council President? Oh, 10,000. The amount of 10,000, okay. Councilors, any other questions or comments?
What is it that you can do with 10,000?
A lot of things.
I know that the recreation department and the library, they do crazy things with a little amount of money, so tell me.
So clarification, it's not that they cannot have more than 10,000, it's at the end of the fiscal year, they cannot have more than 10,000 in their balance.
Yeah.
Which, for this department, it's pretty simple to use because that's right before their busy season in the summer, so they can encumber funds for buses and field trips and so forth. So we are working on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Through you, Madam Chair. Essentially, what it tell us is that use your funds and just leave 10,000 in your accounts.
Correct.
Make sure that you provide the services.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments? Council Marmo.
Motion to send to full council with favorable recommendation, Madam Chair.
Motion has been
Second.
made, properly seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you, Director. Item 239-25, the reauthorization of Veterans Memorial Stadium Revolving Fund Account. for the expenditure limit of $100,000, and we have the director here with us. Director Velez, you have the floor. The executive director, I should say, because you're,
It's okay.
we were talking about it the other day.
So we come before you to ask for permission to continue to have the revolving account with the Veterans Memorial Stadium, which, just so you're acknowledged, we rent the stadium, and we've also been working with the school department. The school department pays for the electric bill for the stadium. And we charge for the DPW workers to be part of supervising. So it's a union contract that when we rent the stadium, a DPW worker needs to be there.
Martha, quick question to you, Madam Chair.
Council President.
I remember back then when in 2017, somewhere around there, when we had the issue with the paddock, that we need to renew the whole turf.
Yeah.
I also remember that we actually worked out some type of ordinance, that ordinance kind of like authorized somebody, and I thought that was the council, to do the final approval of the stadium. So I don't know. I just don't remember. I just talking from the top of my head. So, but do you mind looking into that?
I sure will. I think and I kind of also remember that, I think community development used to do it, right? They used to do the contracts, but I think if it was like anything big, that was a big feast. So a lot of the rentals that we do are more sports orientated, like, the Central Catholic, soccer leagues, youth football, things like that. We haven't really, I think as we've started to like kind of accommodate ourselves in our roles over the recreation department, we're kind of start to look, and hopefully in the future we can start seeing if we could use the Veteran Stadium to have an income, right? So that we could produce some money for the maintenance of it.
Just wondering,
Whatever.
like, in case that there is something that we're missing, that
Yeah,
before we actually,
yeah.
kind of like, clarify things on the ordinance. I think it's an ordinance somewhere around there that we think that we approve. I'm just wondering.
We'll look it up, yes, definitely.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Then I make a motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
A motion has been made, properly seconded, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you,
Thank you.
Director. All right, item 240-25, the reauthorization of library programs revolving fund accounts with the expenditure limits of $50,000. We have the director here. Director, you have the floor.
Thank you, Councilors. Janella Brew from the Lawrence Public Library, 51 Lawrence Street, Lawrence, Massachusetts. So just a quick synopsis. The revolving accounts take in our printing, faxing, and our room reservation income. We don't get much of that money because the reality is we're a public space, therefore we utilize public and hours of operation for the public for that. We don't get much of the money, and we utilize to supplement large purchases, but more purchases are done by general fund for the city. Of course, the most used for the programming and services states. So what we are utilizing right now is printing, color, black and white printing, and then faxing. That's our biggest purchases. One of the things that we're examining right now with the IT department is a better POS system for us.
Councilors, any questions or comments?
Is this only for printing?
Is this only for printing?
Yes, as of right now, it's printing, faxing, color, and black and white. We never reached the reality of a $50,000 capacity. The Capitol can show you that. That's just like where we are. In the future, like other libraries, sustainability, they do reach that. And that's something we would hope to do in regards to where the climate of the world is. But right now, that does cover enough for us to sustain that.
All right, any other questions or comments? Council President.
So, like percentage-wise, how much you guys spend on that?
Are you saying in the expenditures of like purchasing the material used for that, or what we receive from it?
Yeah, just in general, like perhaps
Overall expenses.
overall
for
expenses, like
printing,
for that
faxing.
printing and stuff like that.
So I would say we're at probably a little bit over 10% of expenditures of materials from the city. So that means paper and ink. And then we actually make an income from it, which sits in a revolving account, which is why we have the $50,000 revolving account in front of you today.
And that revolving account, how much you guys make about?
Honestly, we have examined, and that's something that's going to sit with the Board of Trustees of today, is examining the prices that we have right now in front of you, which is black and white printing, color printing, and as well as faxing. We are also examining a good POS system to establish that. I could not be transparent enough to give you a realistic price on what we would see in the future because of the increase in pricing in life. However, what I will say is that what we do have right now is that we are at about a 15% within that $50,000 capacity. So Capital, if you don't mind, we are retaining within that account currently at this moment. Thank you.
So this revolving fund for FY '25 has received $5,900 and has spent $2,900. They did have a beginning balance of $4,700, so their ending balance is about $7,700.
Yes, just a quick note, I mean, I know that you guys charge like 10 cents or whatever for the.
Thank you,
for
Council
print,
President.
something like that.
We are examining that, of
I
course,
see the sign.
with the cost of living.
I see the sign. Just wondering, do you guys thinking about perhaps using some of those funds? I know that you guys have like a gaming, some type of some games that kids use and stuff like that at the library. Have you guys explored to kind of like potentially buying 3D printers for special projects?
Thank you so much for mentioning that we do have our sisters libraries that are part of the Massachusetts Merrimack Valley Library Consortiums that do what we have makerspace and creative spaces. I want to share right now, and we have shared, and we're doing a better opportunity of sharing that we have creative spaces. We are starting with the Cricut machine. However, we are part of the creative space making. So we're including in the next strategic planning of 5 years, sewing machines, 3D printing. We also have button printing, anything to evolve our community to be able to foster what it is to have community engagement and what they learned during the time of the pandemic. So to answer your question, Council President, the truth is this money at this moment is not actually related to these funds. We are utilizing state aid and philanthropy money for that, but I do think this is a big moment to utilize those funds that are actually going back to the library to go back to wants and not needs. And then that's part of that. So we have printing money that we are looking to increase with the referral of the Board of Trustees. And in addition to that, we are examining that. What best place for that? It could be video games. It could be one of the things that we have looked at in the YA space that we are looking to invite you to that is that we have Oculus machines, Nintendo 64, aviation, all those little details that we are looking that other libraries are already implementing, we are fostering that. However, I'm proud to say that the library is finally with the MAR, Municipal Appropriation Requirement. So we are now there. But in order to meet the request of the city and the restraints that we have and the restrictions that we have now in this administration, we have a long feat. There's a long battle ahead of us. We are where we are now, and we will sustain where we are now, and I think that we have the capacity to do so. Those video games are there, those mechanics and to be able to stimulate the economy in regards to technology and innovation and sustainability, right, is there. And one of the parts that I invite you to look at is our sustainability and most importantly, our 5-year strategic plan. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys in September, where we will finalize that and hopefully it will be in front of you so you can see that the investment into the library has been forthcoming and transparent.
I have one more thing that I want to bring up.
Thank you, Council President.
So I have realized over the years that if we want to really help out the youth, we need to work on multiple things. But something that I found in every little thing that we do for the kids to be successful is to make sure that they lost that fear of speaking, talking in public, and also that scenic fear. So sometimes, having those type of programs that include those expositions to the kids to different scenarios and allow them to be themselves and make sure that we support them when they're scared of stalking and stuff like that. That will be something that is essential for the kid development in the future. If the kid is not feared to speak, if he's not scared, that's somebody they're going to be outspoken in the future, and that's somebody that can be sitting here, because that fear is no longer available. So please, any type of program that you guys do, make sure that at least touch into that, because it is important for the development of our youth. And that's something that I have seen in every program, that kids that are not, that have lost that fear, they're more successful in anything they do. So that's just something to take into consideration.
Thank you, Council President. I will say one of the things that we're doing right now is creating an ecosystem for the library. Everything that we do right now, based on the limited resources that we have and we will continue to see on the climate of the administration, is that we need collaboration, right? And we are actually committed to not only the youth, but every intergenerational portion of it, right? So when you say a platform, yes, we are the spokesperson, we are that speaker box. And what I would like to share at this very small time, because I want to respect the time that you have in front of you, and one of the things that we are sharing, we have now currently YA space located on the 3rd floor of the library. We have not only three, we have 3 quiet spaces, telehealth kiosk, and podcast room. So if you're an innovator, if you're an investor, if you're not sure where that challenge is, when you want to use your voice as a platform to share with the rest of the community, we have that. You no longer have to speak in silos. We are community driven, and that's what we talk about. We're talking about intergenerational, right? And then one of the things that we're doing is that if you are be part of that process, we invite you today. We are currently finalizing our 5-year strategic plan. We're looking to present it in front of our Board of Trustees come the end of July, the last week of July. We invite the public today in forum and again and across our social platforms to be part of that conversation. We will be dedicated to include that. Thank you so much, Council President. And the reality of it is, yes, there is a silo in our youth. And however, we are trying to do whatever we can to incorporate their voices in a safe space. There's one thing having them come forward, there's one thing having them feel safe. And we are doing so time and again. And I think that our 5-year plan that we have been establishing for over a year now, it'll be a year come July. I was hoping to have it before that. But I think this is a part of the process, and I invite you, counselors. I have extended that invite. I will resend the invite. We are at the end of the process, so I would love to hear from your constituents, your district, about that. The library, specifically Lawrence Public Library, has so many opportunities. We represent a great population, and this is the current time that I will share with you. We have stakeholders, funders, philanthropists willing and ready to invest. And not more than that, you have a team and an administrative team willing to dedicate themselves to that because they are born and bred in the city of Lawrence. So to simplify the answer that I'm giving to you today, Councilor President, is that yes, we do have something in place for them, and I would love to share those resources. I invite them to visit our website, thelawrencepl.org, so www.lawrencepl.org, where they will see a synopsis of all the opportunities they have. They can see our teen space, our calendar for the YA space, our calendar for the children's space, and adult reference librarian space. We are committed to represent the intergenerational community of the city of Lawrence.
One more thing, last thing. So please do not increase the copy, the 10 cents a copy price, because if you think about it, the closest place that we have to get copies is in Staples. So it's kind of like, you know, it's access. Essentially, that's what it means. Those photocopies are there. You either gonna have to pay a lot on a private place, or go to the library and get a 10 cents copy for anything you need.
Thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I will say with that, Council President, as much as we would love love to support our constituents, we have to be realistic with the economy the way that it stands, right? So we have a responsibility to the leases that we have regarding our printing, which currently is with the Toshiba, in meeting those requirements. So we are looking at a new 3-year lease, and that eventually falls down to the constituents. How do we maximize on that is by giving other services. So we're looking at services like, we already notarize documents for free. Look at us. We have reference librarian appointments. It's called Book a Librarian, where we allow you to review your resume. We look at that and we translate documents for you. So we supplement services for fees. It's not because we want to, it's because that's the way the economy is. So we have to find a checks and balances in that. So thank you for bringing that up. And as much as I want to, I have to be a responsible steward of the money that we have. And that actually falls on how can we best give services that will be free, however, still manages the vendors that we have in place. I will do my best, sir.
Thank you. Going back to the email, do you guys use a email automation platform for your emails?
So currently, we have the website that's called, it's a Wix platform. So we use AI, AI.
So it's more like, is it a yes or no? It's just a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why I bring this up is because your emails go to my spam and my city
I'm so
email.
sorry. It's
Yeah,
real emails,
so-
it's us.
So I know, but just to let you guys know, so when you're sending out information, we might even, I mean, I'm a counselor, I have the same, at citylawrence.com.
Yes.
And I'm not getting your emails because they're going straight to spam. So you might want to look into your platform, possibly either change it or see, or talk to the IT, so at least city employees can get your emails.
No, absolutely. I will speak to the IT department because that's something we definitely want to navigate.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, counselors, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a fair recommendation.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Council Marmol. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
for your
much,
service.
Director.
Appreciate you. Have a good
And
evening.
best of luck. You guys are doing great things.
Thank you so much.
All right, the next item, we have item 241-25, reauthorization of PEG access and cable-related funds, revolving fund account appropriation in the amount of $450,000. CAFO, you have the floor.
Good evening, councilors, again. This is under Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F, 3/4, which is very specific to public education and government, which is what PEG stands for, access and cable-related funds. So basically, the law establishes a separate revenue fund to receive the funds that we receive from cable such as Comcast and Verizon, based on the agreement, franchise agreement between the cable company and the city. So the $450,000 is a reflection of what was received in FY '25. That includes $285,000 from the city side and $145,000 from the school side.
Councilors, any questions? Council President.
Well, thank you, Council Vice President Infante. Well, essentially, these funds, $450,000, that's what we're gonna be authorizing to spend, or that's what we're gonna keep on the account?
So that was we received in '25. We did not spend any money from the city side. The school did spend some money on their education program on the side. So what we like to do is so that we appropriate for the next year, for FY '26, based on what was received the year before.
Perfect. So essentially, we have 3 different channels in the city of Lawrence. Educational, which is the LPS. Community, which is the one that we have here, City Council in the city, and also the government. The community, which is basically we don't have right now, and then we have the government, which is basically Channel 22, that is the one that we just meet, the City Council. So essentially, I wanted to get into the conversation about these funds and how we allocate it, because that's tightly directly to the channel that we provide, information related to City Council and government. So essentially, a lot of those videos that people see is what happened here. And we want to know like how we can be able to provide better quality of services to those up there at home, and also be able to provide a lot more, integrate new generations when it comes to access, and access to what we talk out here, and how the government work, and how the government actually provide those type of services to the community. So essentially, when it comes to that channel, the government side, that's something that we definitely going to have to talk, say it, and be able to provide the quality of the service that that the people pay for. Because essentially, everybody that have a cable bill, they pay for this. And it's not like it's a grant or anything like that. It's, if you receive a bill, you're paying like around $10. The last time I saw, it's coming to this fund. I mean, don't count me on that amount, but I mean, it is something similar. I mean, but I mean, essentially, we need to sit down and discuss what is it that we're gonna do, because if we define this as a providing access to the public, right now we haven't been doing that when it comes to the community side, which basically the community and the government are kind of like, you know, together. And the education one is at the school system that they're using those funds for. But I mean, we're definitely going to have to sit down, talk about it, and see what is it that we're going to do to keep on providing those services to the people when it comes to public access and television.
Yes.
Councilors, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a recommendation.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes
Aye.
have it. All right, next item, we have item 242-25, reauthorization of DPW recycling revolving fund account expenditure limit of $150,000. We have our recycling coordinator here with us, Mr. Silva.
Good evening, councilors. Nelson Silva, Recycling Coordinator. So, something that has never probably been seen before is this department has brought in over $127,000 since I've started. And all it is education, enforcement with the trash, enforcement with trash barrels. I don't know if you know, but not only is my part of my job duties is not only recycling coordinator, I oversee the daily operations of the trash in the city every single day. So I have my two outreach coordinators out there along with the trash company, and we've pretty much sold, I would say, about 750 barrels. I actually need 300 more barrels, but I'm stuck until couple more weeks till the new fiscal year. We have successfully, projected this number pretty big since the time that I've been there. And I think we have a lot more to do. Like I said, everything is education, but it's also making sure that, the residents are in compliance with the overflow of trash, and also with their trash barrels at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Councilors, any questions or comments? Council President.
Yes. So I was reading through, and I read number 4. Do you mind going over number 4? I think that's very important to the council.
Number 4.
Do you have the authorized,
I don't have it. I just had popped it up on my email, but if
I'll read it. So the director of public, the director of the Department of Public Works shall provide a report including all the receipt and expenditure of these funds to the mayor on a quarterly basis and to the city council on an annual basis, in according to the provision of section 53E and a half of Chapter 44 of the general law. So essentially, you're gonna have to provide a report with all expenditure and everything to the city council.
Well, I'm sorry.
We have that?
Here, right now?
Yes, so you should have a report in the back showing how much.
Is it this?
Yes. Nope, sorry, Council President.
No, I don't have.
Yes.
Where is that?
So each revolving fund is supposed to have the revenues and expenses collected for the year on a summarized basis.
No, but I mean, it doesn't say that here in number 4. It says, including
Oh,
all
no,
the
no, that was
receipts and
something else, that was
expenditures.
something else. I think this. Are you talking about this?
Yes, that's what she's talking about.
This?
But that doesn't really.
Yes, so that shows the beginning balance, the total receipts, and total expenditures for the year, and the ending balance.
But that's what the report, this is what they mean when they say receipts?
And expenditures.
When I think of receipts, I'm thinking like
Yeah, that's what I'm
the
thinking.
invoices, the additional information.
If you need more information, we will be more than happy to provide you that. Yes.
I read that and caught my attention, and I'm asking. Because, I mean, if it is like that, I mean, I guess that we should start looking into that.
I will look into that with Director Jaime and the CAFO, and we will provide that.
Thank you. And before people,
Thank you.
the council, this is Mass General Laws, not us. Putting it out there. Any other questions or comments for our recycling coordinator? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a fair recommendation.
Motion has been made, probably second in discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you. We have 2 more items, right?
Correct.
So we have 1 more item before we get to the, 1 more free cash item, and then we're gonna bring you back
All
up.
right.
Oh, you don't mind? Okay. All right, so councilors, can I have a motion to untable item 201-25? Authorization to expend $44,000 towards the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program from Mass DEP. That's under new business, May 20th. Motion has been made to untable. Is there a second?
Make a motion.
There's probably seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Okay, so just quickly, our recycling coordinator his intention was to be with us last time, but there was a confusion with all the hearings and the regular meetings, so I apologize for the confusion on that, but we're happy to have you today.
That's all right.
You have the floor, Mr. Nelson.
Okay, so,
Mr. Silva.
on the 44,000, do you need to,
Yeah,
clarification on that? Is that what?
We have the.
Okay, so basically, that comes in through every year, through the Mass DEP.
Give me 1 second. They still have the item under as new business, so it's gonna be in towards the back, yeah. Right, continue, sorry about that.
So this is a grant that we apply for every year with Mass DEP. It's the Recycling Dividends Program. It's, every year it varies on the amount depending on how many points is calculated, and it's calculated with points, and then the points are basically calculated with different amounts. So this year we were granted 44,000, and this is, our efforts with this is to educate the residents and improve the solid waste reduction and have a higher rate in participation with the recycling program in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A. The recycling department's goal is to use the funds to continue purchasing recycling containers, provide educational materials, promote the benefits of recycling to the community, and, it all comes down to also expenses, and a lot of it is expenses. This money doesn't last very long.
Councilors, any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to,
Council-
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a fair recommendation.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Now, can I have a motion to untable item 202-25, authorization to expend $250,000 towards the waste reduction project for a permanent household hazardous waste facility?
Motion to untable.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Properly seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. Mr. Silva, you have the floor.
So this project, I pretty much inherited. It was applied for last year, and we started with the talks about this back in January of this year. I'm pretty excited about this. This is a joint grant with the city of Methuen. Methuen is on board 100%. Prior to their previous mayor passing, he was on board with it. The new mayor is 100% on board with it. This is a facility that we're looking at right now currently to be held in Lawrence, where Lawrence and Methuen residents can bring their household hazardous wastes. And it's a temporary thing. It's not something that's going to sit there for weeks and months at all. This is a location where we're looking at city land right now, and it would be about 10 to 15,000 square feet. It would be locked. It would be constructed. There would be fenced-in areas. There would be sheds where we would put the household hazardous waste, the paints, the fire extinguishers, the fluorescent bulbs, different things like that. The tires, there would be a dumpster for tires. This would be monitored with surveillance cameras. There wouldn't be staff members here at all. That would just kind of be like we have at the DPW yard, where our charm, where we bring, again, through May through October. So this would pretty much be the new location of where we currently do that. Where we do that, we basically don't have the facility to do it correctly. This would be ideal, and we're actually looking at a possible lot over off of Water Street, where it would be very convenient for Methuen residents and Lawrence residents. This would be something that it would be manned during those hours, or if need be, then we can be there. And again, this is something that it would be beneficial to both cities, where people would store their household hazardous waste and store it for a long time, and God forbid, it can start a fire, it can cause something. So we'd rather have it stored in a facility where we would keep that there for a couple of weeks, and then we would call our vendor who would pick it up, and then they would just take it away. So that's part of that. It would be approximately 145,000 residents and small businesses between the city of Lawrence and Methuen. And the city of Methuen offers one household hazardous waste event per year. We offer it between May and October, every other 2 Saturdays a month. So we've got them beat on that, and we get a lot of residents bring in TVs and all that other stuff, because we only charge $10 for a TV. If they have it curbside picked up by Capital Waste, that's $40. So it is a big savings to the residents. But this is something that right now we're in working with the grant supervisor, Lily. So we're right now currently we're having another meeting for the mutual agreement for both cities. This is something that we've got about 2 years to do, and I'm looking at different possibilities of even looking at, instead of hiring contractors and all this to come in, if we can also use, and I know both Councilor Marmol and Councilor Infante are big on this, using students from the Voc Carpentry to come in and help us and whatever it is, electrical, whatever it is, and then it would be all, at a less of a cost for the city.
Councilors, any questions? Council Marmal.
Where exactly on Water Street is this facility gonna take place?
So it's off of water, it's not 100%, it's a possible site.
Okay.
That we're looking at. So I think it's Doyle Street at the end, right behind the old Tower Hill Towing, along the river.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
back there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that there's about maybe 4 or 5 homes there, but this isn't something that is going to be like an everyday where it would be affecting the quality of life of the residents there. It would just be a couple of hours, during a Saturday. And that's basically it. And there's not going to be any big trucks coming through, only when they're just going to pick up the hazardous waste and take it away.
Thank you.
Council President.
Well, essentially, a couple of things that you mentioned. Do you mind sending us, in general, do you mind being a little bit more active with the council, sending us more information when it comes to the recycling department? I feel like, sometimes those schedules, I'm missing it. I can find it online.
I honestly, Counselor, I've been posting everything. I've been sending it out. I have the IT department post.
No, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking to be more active with us,
Okay.
with the council. Because have you guys received many information from the recycling lady?
To what regard?
To any?
Well, I mean, I understand, and that can be. The thing is also, I've been short-staffed for 3 months. I've had a staff member be out on FMLA. So I'm one man in that department. I'm the only department without a clerk in this building. So I'm a one-man operation. I'm out on the road, I'm out here, I'm doing things out and enforcing stuff on the street. So, I can and I will, per your request, but as, like I stated, I was short-staffed for 3 months.
I know. I mean, I understand, but what happened in the past is that they create that dependency.
Hmm?
That's dangerous in government when you create dependency, and they create that dependency with us. So essentially, they send us information.
Yeah.
Sometimes we share it.
And the other thing too is I invite everyone to walk in there. You all pass by my door every single day. Knock on the door. Come on in. You just walk by. Come see me. Ask me questions. I'm more than open.
Yeah, we want to help. We want to help, and that's
All right.
why I'm asking
Thank you.
to share that information, because that's something that we share. I share a lot of information that this in the Facebook accounts somewhere that somebody's managing. Lawrence,
Sorry, Council
Yeah.
President. The Lawrence
Lawrence
Recycle
Recycling,
page,
yeah.
is that from your department?
That is not from my department.
Okay, so that is very misleading. Because the reason why I asked, it says Lawrence Recycle, and then the other day I saw that they shared a flyer that had nothing to do with the city of Lawrence or recycling. It was a nonprofit. So I was like, okay, what is this? But they're sharing legitimate DPW
yeah, of course.
stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's why I was always under the impression that it was a city account.
That is not a city account.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes it's like everything I see something there that is from the Lawrence the recycling department. I share it, and I want to be able to share that, and I want to be able to kind of like those dates that you mentioned, that every Tuesday or whatever, every other Tuesday or whatever, when it comes to the hazardous materials. I mean, we need to promote that a little more, because I mean, sometimes, like, I've been waiting for one, but I really don't know, because I haven't had the time to look into the recycling
We've had
section
2
of the
already in
website.
the month of May, so.
Yeah, so essentially that's, you see, that's the thing, like,
They started in May.
yeah, so those are the things that I want to share. I want to be able to use it as well. I have a couple of things at home that I need to bring and stuff like that, but I'm kind of like, I feel like citywide emails should be sent with all those information. Sometime, we like I said, we're entire, like we feel entire, like we have to have it. That's not good, but I mean, essentially, yes. If we come from the recycling department, I wanna go and help out the department by doing that. That's
you.
one thing. Another thing that
Oh, before you continue, Council President, sorry. You may want to look into, and I know it's really, especially in this economy, it's becoming more rare, getting, unpaid interns, but you never know if there is someone at Northern Access or something that can help with social media or emails or something like that.
So I just spoke to Director Velez, and the program that they have for the seniors. You know, I asked her, I said, is it possible if I can have somebody in my office who can just, you know, help people come in and answer a phone if I'm not there, if I'm taking
Let's
care of
give you that
something else,
extra
because
support.
I'm you know,
Yeah.
up and down everywhere. So hopefully, she said, yeah, you know, we can work that out. So that's a step in the right direction,
Awesome.
definitely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Council President?
that was thanks to the council, because we brought that up. But I mean, I just trying to kind of like, you know, essentially that's why. Another thing that I'm concerned, aware, and I want to bring it up is that you know, the city of Lawrence was designed for specific things, and sometimes we kind of like, you know, keep on falling into the sand then, and sometimes we don't see it because it is a positive thing for the community. But essentially what we're doing with this money is providing a solution for another community, perhaps another city that is actually, and I'm not talking about Methuen necessarily, but I mean, because I mean, we need to keep on developing those relationships. But Lawrence was developed to do that, to get things from other communities and dump things here that where nobody wants it. And give me a second, hold on. Because that's my thought, and it's not, you know, I understand that you're very passionate about the program.
Not anything towards you.
Yeah, it's not just you actually that project was there before you get there, as you mentioned. But essentially, look, those are the things that get me so like sometimes thinking about, like, you know, why. And every time we have something like that, right away they go to Water Street. Look, today I received a phone call from somebody that she is right next to a dump facility, again, from the sewer, from the water sewer department, and then they dump all the waste from the sewer material. If we think about it, that's at the end of Water Street, right next to the solar panels. It's a mess down there when it comes to the sewer. If we look at the Water Street at the beginning, so we got a facility there that you know, there is some issues there on the sewer that a lot of bad smell come up. And also there, if we look at the methadone clinic, it's right off Water Street. If we look at all, you know, the bathrooms for the home, right on Water Street. If we look at the, you know, the day shelter, it's right off Water Street. If we look at all the things going on, it's like, and now we're looking for another facility that's going to be another dump ground facility.
So-
That, give me 1 minute, that's my thought. I understand that you want to express your concerns about what I'm saying, but that's how I feel about that little section there. Councilor Marmol live around there. And I hope that we can join forces when it comes to, you know, making sure like things that are there are being well taken care of. And look at, you know, possibility of, again, not necessarily bring more stuff over. I mean, I hope that if this program goes through, that we avoid that area, because we already have many things around that specific area. And remember, Water Street is not the entire length. Water Street will go from Broadway all the way to Ames. So it's a small section that have a lot of stuff going on when it comes to hazardous waste. But guess what? The water we drink is processed there. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like, we shouldn't be even thinking about more stuff going so close to the drinking water that we have. It's like, come on, let's think abroad. Let's think about in general how we doing this. And it's not about this program at all. Even though, I wish that we can do our own facility for our own town. And if we're thinking about other places, like, Lawrence is 6.7 square mile. Very small, 105,000 people, perhaps. I could be wrong. But it is kind of like, thinking again and like how we were designed, and that pursued us of again having a place that a lot of people used to do this type of things in the past, and now we kind of like, forgetting about that stuff. But I mean, it is my opinion about this program, any other thing that goes specifically to that area.
Yeah, so I get it that, everything is dumped in the city of Lawrence. I'm a Lawrence kid, I live in Methuen, I dump myself here every day. And I'm here every day, and I spend more time in Lawrence than I do in Methuen. And I spend more money here in Lawrence than I spend in Methuen. My heart is here, and I sentiment with you, and, and you're 100% correct. And your packet, I don't know if it was printed out or not, but there was an actual household regional facility that was built on the South Shore. There's pictures, and I don't know if the city clerk had provided them for you. So I sent her everything. So if I can just show you this. This is the example photos of the facility that was built on the South Shore. Everything there is constructed with, everything is covered, everything is fenced in, everything is monitored by camera. You're not going to have a dump.
It's not an eyesore.
People are going to have no access to this place when we are not there. It is going to be fenced in, it's going to be secured. We will have access, 24-hour access, whatever. And trust me, there's going to be full of cameras. I invite people to, actually step away from there, because if they attempt to go and dump something there illegally, they're going to get fined, because with all the cameras there, we're going to catch them. So this is not going to be a dumping ground. This is not going to be something where, this is going to be something that is going to be very, very monitored. It's going to be very clean. This is actually something where it will actually, again, be very profitable for both communities. And if Methuen wasn't into this, wasn't in this grant, we wouldn't have got it for $250,000. We would have only got 50 grand. But since we are opening it up to Methuen, potentially, if it gets better, if it works out great, we can invite other communities and make it a regional. That's the future. But I mean, but again, it's something that it won't be a dumping ground. It'll be cleaned, and it'll be staffed by DPW employees. That all goes through like building permits in the future and everything if it gets approved. It's not.
Through you, Madam Chair. I don't know. I mean, that's exactly what I want to avoid. Regional stuff, to dump more stuff so dangerous as chemicals. If we think about it, it is so like,
I think when I go to another site for a visit, I would definitely invite you to come so you can have a better picture, and you would see exactly how it functions.
No, I understand. I understand how potentially that might function. I also understand how difficult that is to have it so close to a so dense community. I mean, if we think about it, okay, around Water Street, it is like, you know, that section that you mentioned there, it's about to be developed with a lot of sport facilities. Right around there, right, I know exactly what you're talking about. Right in front of it, we are in the process of doing something with another facility for sport. It's like we need to start thinking about something else. Not those profit. You see what the chief of police was saying before, that there is grants, that it is like we need to analyze. You know what I mean? It's like, to be honest with you, I'm not ready for this to be today.
So if I may add, again, Water Street is a potential site. It's not a definite site. That's a potential site. There's other sites that are, you know, possibilities. If we don't have a site, we won't do this. And that's the end of the story. The grant money's gone, and it is what it is. But, you know, the thing is that that's a potential site. It's not 100%. So we have to be a little bit open to find other things. If that doesn't work out, we'll find something else.
Things that I don't like is the site, which is a potential, and the fact that we joined other community and not doing our own. And also the fact that we're thinking about opening a regional. That make my point even to be more concerned.
So
It's like-
that's what everybody else is, that's a possibility. It's not, you know, again, you know, this is something I inherited. This is not something that I applied for. I did not apply for this. This was my predecessor. So I just have to deal with what I have on my plate and move forward with it.
Me personally, am ready to vote on this today. I need to look into it a little more, or a lot more perhaps.
All we're voting is on the money to at
Exactly
least
what we're voting
attempt to do anything with it. I mean, if we don't
No,
do
I
anything
know.
with it,
I mean,
then nothing's
what we're
gonna be
voting
spent
on
it.
is what we're voting on is to authorize the expenditure.
Right, that's what I said.
Meaning that once we vote on it, you grab the money and build the projects. That's what we're voting on. So we're telling you, yes, go ahead and do it. That's what we're voting on.
I mean, we've been working very hard with Dan McCarthy also, so he's very aware of all
Yeah.
the sites.
No, I understand. I understand.
So, I mean.
I just not ready, to be honest with you.
That's fine. Again, you know, this is something that we have 2 years to do, to finish by 2 years.
So to finish by 2 years from the date that we received the grant letter, which was December 17, 2024, or the date of the deadline to accept the grant, which was February 15, 2025, which,
February 15th, but we can also ask Mass DEP for an extension, which is possibly gonna happen.
okay.
When was the deadline?
It's 2 years from, February, so it'll be February, like around
Oh,
February 15, 2027. so
We're
around there.
looking for a 1-year, extension.
Okay, so February 15, 2028. All right, well, at this point, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion to table has been made, properly seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Actually, I should have, can you keep us up to date on the locations?
Yeah,
think-
I am. I mean, I'm having a couple of meetings with Dan next week, so, again, nothing is 100%. So not even the Water Street is 100%. It's a potential. So I
Thank
will.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, counselors.
And congratulations on bringing in $127,000. You're welcome. All right, the last item for tonight, we have item 243-25, transfer funds in the amount of $6,137,126 from free cash to various accounts. Careful, you have the floor. That's under new business.
Did we end up doing the 235 one?
Yeah. Careful?
So, we have, at the end of the year, the finance department comes to the city council to request some transfers. Some of them are to build up our reserves, and, in this case, also, to clear up all our snow and ice deficits. The first one we have before you is the OPEB Trust Fund, Other Post-Employment Benefits. This fund was established to begin funding for the city's other post-employment benefits liability, which is generally health insurance for retired employees. As of our actuary report last year, our OPEB trust liability was about $300 million. So we are trying to fund this as much as we can. The intent is to first fund our pension assessment, and once that's, once we're caught up, which by law we're supposed to be done by 2036, then we will be able to add a lot more to the OPEB liability. As of today, the balance on this fund is $2,754,000, including the amounts we add every year plus the interest earned. So we're asking to transfer $500,000 to this fund. The next fund would be the Compensated Absences Reserve Fund, and this is this was created to support departmental budgets for the lump sum, the payments that we make to employees upon retirement or termination for compensated absences such as vacation or sick leave. And we are proposing a $500,000 transfer. The next trust fund is the workers' comp. The workers' comp is reserved to support departmental budgets for workers' compensation claims, including indemnity and medical payments. We're proposing a $200,000 transfer to that. The next one is injured on line of duty reserve. This is mainly for the same as workers' compensation, but it's specifically for our public safety, police, and fire. DPW's snow and ice expenditure. This is one of the only accounts that we are legally okay to go in the deficit, and we are covering the deficits for this year, which is $1,665,848. Then the next three funds are stabilization reserves. The first one, which you might not be too familiar with, is the Fiscal Stability Reserve. This one was created in the Acts of 1990, Chapter 41, and is basically to ensure the fiscal stability of the city, which we raise 1.5% of the amount to be raised on the tax recap, less enterprise funds. So for FY26, the amount was last year's $500 million, which is the amount that was raised in the tax recap, times 1.5%, excluding the enterprise fund. So this fund, as of FY25, as of today, the balance on this fund is $6,056,822. This fund was established by statute, so the council can take money out, but it needs to be put back in. And the only way we can actually get rid of this fund is we have to request from the state. So that's something that at this point we don't need to. We have a healthy reserve balance, so we don't need to go to that trust fund. But if we do need to do that, we can request that from the state. The next one is the stabilization reserve for debt service. The balance on that account as of now is $20,507,000. As you know, on the budget that's before you now, we are taking $5 million specifically for the additional debt service to cover the 2 new schools and the police station. So we're supplementing a little bit more on the debt service fund. And the last one is the litigation and judgments, and that is, right now the balance on that fund is $1,390,000, and we have had some reductions where the city attorney has come to you and requested some monies for either litigations or pending settlements. So the total of all those transfers equals $6,137,126.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Council President.
Kafo, do you mind sending us that sheet that you're reading on?
No, it's here. What's in your packet? Oh, the detail, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, my cheat sheets? Absolutely.
I mean, you mentioned a couple
These
of.
are all my notes. I'll be
No, the
more
thing
than
is
happy
like
to-
you mentioned, oh, this one is this minus this, and this and minus. Kind of like, you know, I get the total amount, but I want to get the cheat sheet.
So it is my understanding, you might be familiar with this one. This is one I include on my quarterly reports to the counselors, and it lists all my funds here. So it shows the beginning balance, it shows all the additions and deductions, and it shows you the ending balance. So this also has the description of all the funds. So I do provide this to you guys every quarter, but I'll be more than happy to send you.
Just send those, and because I mean, sometimes it's good to have like, you know, the definition of each one
Absolutely.
while we'll discuss, and
Yes.
that way we can say like, perhaps the stabilization reserve for the service, we talked about that like 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And then I know that that's for $20-something million for that, for this, for that, and then judgment litigation funds is like, you know, we know that
Yes.
was that for, and so far so on. Just and then there is a couple of other ones that we've been familiar, but I mean, there is other
Absolutely.
ones that you just mentioned, like, you know, the fiscal stability. That's
Yes.
is something that we're not very familiar with it, and then how that works and stuff like that.
Yep, I'll go ahead and
So
send you that.
just send me that, and I'll highly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll now entertain a motion.
Motion to send to full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you, Careful.
We have one more.
Oh, we have one more.
Yes,
Where's
unfortunately.
I know it.
230? Oh, we did skip that one?
Yeah, we did.
235.
So it's the year-end transfers?
Oh, yeah. 235, yep. Which you said I'll give my time, so yep, okay, yep. 235 year-end transfers between departmental accounts, CAFO.
Yes. So again, this is another one of those reports that we come before council at the end of the year. And per Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 33B, allows us to do year-end transfers to clean up any deficits. So basically, before you, we have the account with the number and the description of the account and where the money's being transferred from and where the money's transferred to. I can explain to you why there is a deficit in this account. So if you want to follow me to the first line on the deficits, it's DPW street operations overtime. This is mainly due to the additional overtime needed for, like, for example, Director Velez was here speaking about the Veteran Stadium. A lot of the times, we do need extra work in the stadium, and when the stadium doesn't have money to pay for the expenses, then the employees' costs of salaries goes to their respective departments. In this case, is the streets operations. Also, they do have additional works, a lot of cleaning up, especially in the spring, that they do, so that they tap into the overtime. The next line item there, it's the Office of the Veterans Affairs. Basically, that is the Chapter 115, the benefits that the veterans receive. And that additional funds is related to additional monies. We never know how many veterans we're gonna have in a year. So it was basically, we just level funded based on what we had in previous years. It looks like this year, they either had an additional veteran or they had additional expenses such as funerals or medical expenses that they do help veterans with. So that's basically what the additional $56,000 is for. Your favorite one, Council President, is health insurance. we are requesting $1,200,000. As you know, health insurance costs has been in the rise. There are different factors: rising medical costs, hospital and doctor fees, prescription drug prices, increased demands for healthcare, less providers, which is less competition, so therefore premiums are higher. So there's a lot of items that is affecting our healthcare costs, and at this time, this is based on what the actual is. So this is not based on what we think is going to come in. We already have 11 months' worth of expenses, and we're estimating based on what the actual has been for the year. The next one is the department, the police department operations overtime. They have a lot of vacancies at the moment, and the current officers are covering for the vacancies, so they are using a lot of the overtime. Also, it depends on the activity going on in the department and also around the city, that they would need to tap into the overtime more than what was budgeted. The next item will be for the fire department, a little bit of money to supplement their gas and also the diesel fuel. And the diesel fuel is a little higher because during the year there was an emergency repair to one of their trucks, and we had to do a transfer from that account, so now we need to put it back. We move into the cemetery section. So basically, the 30,000 additional overtime is being covered by the cemetery itself within the different accounts. And mainly after speaking with the director, it has to do with the additional times that the cemetery has to cover, which I believe is 7 in the morning to 7 at night. They offer it 7 days a week, where they open and close the gates, and it's open for families. So the overtime is related to that additional cost.
Council President.
So the cemetery is open every 7 days a week?
So the gates for the cemeteries are open 7 days a week. The
Okay.
gates, so people are allowed to come in even when the cemetery is closed. So they are allowed to come in between 7 and 7. So an employee has to go in and close the gates at 7 o'clock at night. So that creates additional overtime on the weekends as well.
So, because the reason why I'm saying this is because before we have the cemetery open 7 days a week. And then now, what we're saying is that we need to pay extra $30,000 a year to close the cemetery every night, and then open it in the morning, especially the weekends. So that's what it is. So I guess that measurement of closing the cemetery, it's costing the city of Lawrence $30,000 extra. All right. I think that, at some point we need to look into that.
After speaking with the director also, it's also to prevent vandalism, trash disposal. So it does offer some benefit in terms of, maintaining cleanliness and safety at the cemetery. So those are the.
I mean, I understand that, but we have a cemetery that is wide open right in front of us, right in front of the ours. And then we have another one that is right open as well. Right, 2 cemeteries that are wide open, right next to ours. So it's like, we need to kind of really take a look into that, because I thought it wasn't costing $30,000 when the measurement took place. I don't know, councilors, if you guys are familiar with what I'm talking about, but it was a huge topic 3 years ago, 3 years ago. Because people were arguing and discussing and saying, okay, we want the cemetery to be open. And it is open, but now the fact that we're closing the doors every day, that is costing $30,000, it's kind of like, it's like, cemetery, 2 cemeteries right next to ours that are right open. People can just walk in. And if if those vandalism are not happening in those two cemeteries, why it happened right on ours? Like, I don't know. I think, like, we should look into that again.
Yep. So, yeah, that's definitely a conversation to be had with the director.
I mean, sometimes having those type of conversation and probably have all the type of control. Because if you told me that we're gonna invest $30,000 in cameras and license plate readers and have some type of access to anybody that get into the cemetery after a certain amount of hours, I understand that those are measurements that we should be taking. And if anything happened within that time and that those people that get caught into the license plate readers, something happened on the cemetery, at least we have some type of information. Because just spending $30,000 to open gates and close gates is like, if we're being conservative about the expenditures, it's like, we gotta look into that as well. Like, come on. I mean, if you told me that it's for something else, I understand. And potentially, I might be in favor of it.
Yep.
But I mean, open and close gates, that's something that
They
is
might
not.
also have, when you have a burial after hours, I know they charge extra. If you have a burial on a Saturday, they also charge extra. So that, it's the overtime related to those additional services. So that might be a combination of both.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So exactly. So it's like, if we keep it open, we're gonna save this money and we'll be able to spend it on something else, perhaps technology, to be able to cut people when they go over and do some vandalism. It's like,
Council President, I have a slightly different opinion. I have my father buried in a cemetery in Bradford, and that's a gated cemetery, and it's in an area where you don't necessarily need to worry about safety or anything like that, or vandalism or anything like that. So I have a slightly different opinion because I see what that comes with, and I see how they upkeep the cemetery and everything, but I also understand the flip side of this. I also understand the council president's concern about, I mean, 30 grand is a lot for just one thing. So I guess I'm undecided. I'm in the middle when it comes to this particular situation.
I'll definitely relay the message to the director, and then I'm sure that's a conversation that we can have.
Any other comments or questions?
The next item, it's the fire department. Basically, they're covering their own deficit. It's just transferring from various different accounts for replacement of old uniforms. Then we go into transfers within the enterprise funds for the next page. The parking enterprise fund, as I mentioned before, the enterprise fund was not really making a lot of revenue in the past, so there were some expenses that the general fund absorbed, and one of them being the insurance for the property insurance for the parking. So now that they are doing much better with the revenues, we are able to transfer the expenses to them as well. Airport enterprise fund basically is transferring to the permanent salaries. This is a combination of contractual obligations and also step increases with the union employees within the airport. And lastly, it's water sewer enterprise fund, and this is a transfer to increase their property insurance. So every year, we review all the fleet for all the departments, and sometimes because the water, sewer, and DPW are so close with each other, some of the vehicles end up in DPW versus water and sewer. So after a review and an audit, we were able to identify additional vehicles that should have been charged to the water department, and that's what the $12,371 represents.
Any questions or comments pertaining to parking? Council
Yeah.
President.
Through you, Madam Chair. Just on a little bit more information. I'm looking into the parking enterprise funds and the overtime. I'm just wondering, I passed by one of the parking that used to have 24-hour parking attendance before, which is basically the Bread and Roses municipal parking garage. Are you familiar with that one? No?
No,
That's the right name of it.
okay.
Of the parking lot that is located at in front of the court. As a matter of fact, the council changed the name of it, but we're not referring to it. We keep on referring to the Museum Square garage. But the right name is the Bread and Roses Lawrence Municipal Parking Garage.
It's good to know.
Good to know. So I'm wondering to see.
Out of habit.
Yeah?
Museum Square, out of habit.
Yeah, it's good. I would like to see any type of project related to changing the proper name on the signs for that specific parking garage, because we changed the name of it probably like 2-3 years ago.
It was like 2 years.
Museum Square?
Yeah,
Yeah, it came through the council, yeah.
it went through the council,
Yeah.
Oh,
and we're
okay.
still seeing it as the Museum Square garage.
Okay.
So I wanna see that somewhere within potentially those transfers, if possible, or any type of projects that we have in the future for that. And also, I would like to know, before we used to have a 24 hours parking attendance there, and now I went over like 2-3 days ago at 9, perhaps at 6 or 7. At 6, actually. And I tried to get in, and there was a sign there saying that people are not allowed to park there during the night. So I'm wondering about the schedule. What type of schedule they have, and how we managing those parking lots that belong to the city when it comes to overnight parking, because not 100% of the parking there belong to the agreement we have. So essentially questioning around that. And if there is any type of overtime on those parking funds, enterprise funds, if that overtime is being used for that, and kind of like, wondering about it. Right?
Noted. Yes, history lesson. Yes,
See, that usually comes from Counselor LaPlante, but.
that's right.
It's rubbing off on Council President. All right, so next we have the Airport Enterprise Fund.
I'm sorry, I think I reviewed all of them, but
Oh,
I'll
you
be
did?
happy
Okay.
to
Okay.
review them again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's listed differently here. All right. Any other questions or comments for the CAFL? Council President,
I'll make a motion.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation pending information that we request. You see?
I
how
hope
it-
you took good notes. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Council Marmol. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. It's
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Thank you, councilors.